Hey everybody, welcome back. Today I have this mold from Temu. It's geckos or lizards. I thought these would be really cute done up. I would like to put them, I think, on my outside of the house for the summer. And I thought I'm going to keep it fairly simple. I think I'm just going to do them in black, but I want a pop of color. So I have these Sharpie markers in the neon colors, and I thought maybe I'll just outline the embellishments in here. And if it doesn't show up in the final product, I already did a couple just to see how it was going to mark on there, then I'll come in with and put paint on them and then cover it. But I'm going to try these just to see what they do. And I also have another little guy. This is like a keychain. I'm going to do him as well. And I have this little turtle, which is a keychain. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm just going to use these markers to give these some color. Again, I'm not sure how well these will stand up to having the black resin poured on them. And if they don't, like I said, that's fine. I can go in, because I thought originally I was just going to pour these black and then come back in with the some neon paints. So this is just kind of, I want to see how well these do stand up to resin being put on them. And see whether it works. For the big one anyways, these ones, I don't have eyes quite that small, but for the big one, I'm going to put these eyes in. I'm just going to put them in, make sure they're lined up properly, and I'm just going to use a little bit of UV resin to secure them before I put in the black resin. So I'm just going to place those in there. I'm just going to put a little bit of UV resin along the side to keep them in place. Okay, I have the color on there. Like I said, not sure if it's going to stay, but we're going to try it out. Now, I did put some UV resin and put those eyes in there. And I think for these ones, the smaller ones, I put a little bit of UV resin in each one. And I'm going to use this olive chameleon powder just to see if I can bring it out a bit. So I'm just going to use a very small brush, just like this. And I'm going to put just a little bit on the brush. And I'm just going to do, hopefully, just the eyeball part. Now, of course, static has its own way. So some has fallen on the mold, but that's okay, because that will just highlight give a little bit of color in that black. All right, let's move on to these little guys. I think I'm going to use some chameleon powders. So I'm just going to choose, this one's called purple, red, yellow, green. I'm just going to do some different colors in it. No rhyme or reason. And I'm going to back this in black as well. So I'm just going to add some of this color. Bold green, blue. I'll do his little legs in that. This would make a cute little keychain, eh? Just getting in all those little crevices. For the turtle, I have these colors I got from Lit RB, I think it's. And I've seen them used before, and they give you a solid color. I did get these while I was in the States off of Amazon, but I wonder if it would be possible using a small brush to get the detail. Let's see, copper, bronze, cream white, rustic gold, silver, and black, deep black. Let's go with the copper. And we'll see what happens. I don't know whether I'm going to be able to line it up. Okay, let's see if I have a steady hand here. Just going to line. And good enough eyes. Okay, so that's done in the copper. I think I might do the inside with the gold. I think the rustic gold. So, and all I did was kind of take my brush, and I'm going to come back in and clean it after I've done the gold, but I just kind of took my brush and trying lightly to do it on top just to try to get those, the ridges that are sticking out. So all I did, let's see if we can do it with the, so I just put like a tad bit on the brush, and I was just kind of brushing it like this, very lightly. Okay, so he's done. I'm gonna mix up my resin. This is gonna be done in black, the Geckos in black. I don't know, I might do him in a dark green instead of black. I'm gonna start with the green for the turtle. So I'm just gonna use some of this green mica that I have to, because I think the green will look better than black with the turtle. So I'm just going to mix some of that in, get it poured in, and then, oh, I'm almost out of this green. And then I'll mix up the black. Now for the black, I'm just going to use my black Cast and Craft. Okay, just let that settle in. Make sure it gets into that, the top piece here where the keychain goes. And I'm just going to mix up the rest with my black. Okay, let's do this little guy first. And I'll go back in with my little dotting tool in his little feet and legs, just to make sure it got into all those little crevices. It's dripping down the side of my cup. Okay, so we're gonna let that settle in for a minute. Let's bring our large geckos over. We'll pour into these. Everything's dry, so let's start with the smaller ones. Let's take a look at the turtle. I'll have a little bit of trimming to do on the keychain hole. He's okay. The color is pretty around it. He's cute. I do like the copper coloring. I love this little gecko lizard. Hopefully it turned out. His little feet out of here. You can see he's still kind of flexible. Don't want to wreck the... There. There we go. Again, I have a little bit of trimming to do, but look how cute he is. Hanging from your keychain from the little tail here, or hanging from a book bag or whatever, backpack. I think he's pretty cute. All right, let's take a look. Now, I said I had done some extras. It was these. I'm going to color these, so they're not going to just be black, but I just needed a place to put my extra resin. So I'm going to finish these off with some color on top, and then I'll top coat them. I'll show you those. Now, what I'm interested in with these is if the color from those Sharpies came through. So let's get these out. Flip it over. I usually do find that's an easier way to get molds out, especially some of these have some more intricate, the smaller ones have a little more intricate parts in them. So and I can see already that that color did not come through. So that's fine, because I'm going to color it now. Now there's a few little bubbles, but all in all, not too bad. You can see the eyes I put in there look pretty cool. But now I know the Sharpies don't work from the mold side. You can see some of the color actually just stayed on the mold. So it's good to know that doesn't transfer through. Let's get the little... Okay, so I'm going to use acrylic paints. I have in here, I had some, these are just from the Dollar Tree. I have orange, oops, neon orange, neon pink, neon green, and I didn't have a blue, but I thought this blue would work well. So that's what we're going to use. And all I'm doing is I did it with the pink just to test it. And I'm just going to brush on the color. I'm putting it on thick because I'm going to come back in. I put it on thick to get in all those crevices, and then when I come back in, I just wipe it back with a baby wipe. And once it's dry, I'll wipe the whole surface of the gecko and put a top coat on, because I do want to put these outside. Now, if you weren't putting these outside, you wouldn't necessarily have to put a top coat on. I guess it, depends on what environment you're going to have it in. So that's all I'm doing with each of these to give them a nice pop of color. So again, putting on thick, but I will be wiping this back like I did with the pink. Now these did unfortunately have kind of like little bubbles in them. Probably should have sprayed this one with isopropyl before I poured it. Might have helped. So you can see kind of where those bubbles come in. Now you can go back and fill them in with black if you wish. It wouldn't hurt anything. And I'm just going to fill in a couple of these little spots. I like this pop of color with the neons, especially if it's going outside. I think I'll do the ones on each side of the eye the same with the green, which is what I did on the little guys too. Okay, and then I rinse my brush with some water. I'm going to let the greens sit for a bit, and then I'm going to move on and do some blue and some orange. And being careful not to mix my colors. All right, I got ahead of myself, forgot to record when I was done the painting. But all I did when I was done was I took like a little wet wad like this and just wiped it back. I touched up a couple spots, and this is the result. So aren't they colorful and cute? Now I could top these with regular resin, epoxy resin. There's more of a chance that, it could come off. I think I'm just going to use my UV resin. It's not, I wouldn't normally use it on a project this large, but I have the better UV light. I got the new Let's Resin one that is stronger than the one I had before. So I think it will cure it fine. And I'm not putting a thick coat on. I'm just putting a very fine coat on. So I think that is what I'm going to do. And this bottle's almost done, so I kind of want to use it up. I have another full bottle, and I'm worried that my UV resin is going to get too old on me because it's not something I use a lot. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to do one just to show you how it's done. I probably won't keep you on camera for all three because once you see how one is done, they're all done the same way. And like I said, I have the new light from lets resin that can cure it from both sides at the same time. That's a nice light. I couldn't figure it out at first. I couldn't figure out how to get the bottom to turn on the same time as the top, because if you want, you can use them as two separate lights. They go together with a magnet. I mean, you've probably seen some other creators that were sent them as a promotion, and they did like a review of them. But sorry, I got a hair on there. They magnet together, so you can use it as two lights if you want to, or the one. And they each have their own power place to put power in, but it only came with the one plug-in. So I thought, why isn't the bottom working for me? And then I discovered that when you put them together, you have to line them up properly. There's little connectors on each side where it magnetizes in, and you have to line those up properly. And as soon as you take them apart, I find that they, or even move it a little bit, they kind of misalign. So it's, yeah, I don't know. I find I'm fiddling with it all the time to, sorry, I'm just turning another light on because I can't see very well. I'm fiddling with it to get it to, for both sides to work, but once it's working, it is a nice light. It's, you can tell it has lots of power. And it has up to a 5-minute timer, which is very nice, rather than my other one that only went to 90 seconds, so you'd have to restart it and then restart it, and sometimes I would forget. And then so this one's nice because I can put it on, I can't remember, it's 2, 3, or 5 minutes, so that works out well. So that's my unpaid for review of that light. I do like it. So I'm just taking my time. Like I said, this bottle's almost empty, so I kind of have to squeeze it to get it to come out. But I'm just taking my time. I don't want it to go over the edge. Where you do run into some issues is I have some little air holes. Next time I use this mold, I definitely need to put some spray it first with the isopropyl to hopefully prevent some of those darn little bubbles that you get. And what can happen is the resin, when the bubbles are along the edge, it pulls into those little nooks, or whatever you want to call them, where the bubble is, and it can cause it to pour down. And once it starts, it is like a waterfall. The resin all follows. You can tell this bottle's almost empty. I will use my lighter on these to get any bubbles out. But again, being careful, I don't want to heat it up because that will cause the viscosity to lower and it thins out the resin, and then it can run over the sides, which is what we don't want to happen. This is just regular UV resin. You can get what they call the high viscosity resin, or even low viscosity. I find that the regular resin the regular UV resin works just fine for pieces like this. If you're taking your time, you should not have an issue with it running over the edge, because it is fairly thick. And if you are, you can always use a little UV flashlight and make sure that your bottle that you're using to pour it from is not near the UV light, but then you can just go ahead and cure it as you go. Cure it a little bit. I would always suggest that you stick it under a proper UV lamp at the end to give it a proper cure. especially something like this where, you know, it's all the curing has to come from the top, because obviously it's not going to cure from underneath. And that's why I'm not going to put a very thick coat on, because if I did, it wouldn't cure all the way through. So I just want a thin coat to protect it, give it some shine. And seal in that acrylic paint that I used. Okay, so I'm going to just use my lighter. Get the bubbles out. And then I'm going to cure this while I work on the other two. And I will be back to show you the final version, as well as the keychains I made. So I'll see you in a bit. Here they are. They are so cute. I would show you what they look like hanging up outside, but it's raining out and it's night. So, but as you can see, the UV resin gave it that nice shine, and the coating, and it dried, that light dried it up so nicely. And here's the little one. And here's the other one. These guys are cute. So there they are. Now, with the extra resin, you saw that I had done the keychains. So here's the keychains. I did the same thing. I just took some paint, put it on, wiped it off, and then I topped them with the UV resin. I'll have to, if I want to use them as keychain, I could use them as magnets as well. But I just need to top, I can drill a hole in them, add the keychain hardware, or I can add a magnet to the back. I never think of magnets when I'm doing resin. And in my last video, when I asked for some suggestions on what to do with those hearts, so a couple people suggested magnets. I'm like, yeah, why wouldn't I think of that? And anyways, so there we are. Thanks for joining me today, guys, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.